Mic check. I used to cop a lot, but never cop no drop. Hold mics like ponytails tight and bobble out.
Because I have a cat that's a problem cat.
Oh, really?
And he likes to pee on the floor at random instances if it's not his favorite place. So we found his favorite place, and it's right in the hallway where people have to walk to the bathrooms.
That he just likes peeing right there?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So we had to put a litter box in the middle of the hallway. I'm like, God.
Specific places to pee. That's the best.
Yeah, cats are lovely.
Yeah, I fucking hate cats. I really, really hate cats. I used to have a cat. His name was Mr. Kitty. And I used to have a cat for a while, and then I had to get rid of him. And then I didn't have a cat for years, wasn't really around cats at all. And then one of my friends needed me to watch their cat for a little bit. So I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll do it. I'm a nice person. And it was terrible. I fucking hate cats. They're literally ridiculous. They're so crazy.
Was there something specific that happened that the cat did, or?
Yeah, she would just like constantly like jump. Like she was like on, I don't know, bath salts or something. Like she was like just going crazy and would like fuck up the blinds and like attack me all of a sudden. Like she would be relaxing on the couch and then just attack me. Like run out of nowhere, just run at me and like grab my pant leg and fuck me up real quick and then move on. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah, I've never had a cat like that that's got that like crazy energy. I guess when they're like super tall, tiny kittens, they get like crazy. All of our cats have been like rescues, so they're usually like a little older, I think,
and a little more timid probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was crazy. And like she went through heat too. I didn't know. I never had a cat that like went in heat, and it was the scariest thing I've ever experienced. Like, she was hornier than me. Like, she was going crazy, like, meowing so loud. Like, or, like, she was, like, spazzing out, like, her ass in the air at all times. And I'm like, I mean, period, girl. Like, me too. But it was so annoying. Like, she was, like, meowing so loud nonstop. And I'm like, wow, what a slut. We love. It was so funny.
Yeah, we have 2 boy cats and 2 girl cats. I will say one of the girl cats she gets a little frisky sometimes. Like she'll let you pick her up for like 2 seconds and then she's like, I'm good. That's it.
Never mind.
Yeah, no thanks.
Cats they're crazy. They're ferocious. I have a little dog now though. She's so cute.
What kind of dog is it?
She's a miniature schnauzer.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know why she's so much smaller than any other miniature schnauzers that I've seen. Like she's really small. Like she like fully grew as a puppy and then just stopped. Never like got any bigger, and she is a complete crackhead, like literally a crackhead.
Did you get her from a litter?
No. Oh, yeah, I got her from a litter, but she was like a couple months old by the time I got her. She's probably like maybe 2 months old.
Yeah.
3 months old.
Was she like smaller than the rest of them? Was she like the runt?
I didn't see the rest of them. That's the thing. She was like already separated, and she was, I guess, one of the last ones to get sold. So I was like, oh, we love her.
Yeah.
And she was a little bit chunkier, like her belly was a little bit bigger, but she wasn't, I don't know if she was any smaller or bigger than the rest.
Yeah.
But I feel like all other miniature schnauzers I've seen, she's like half their size.
Yeah.
She's so small. I don't know why.
Yeah.
She eats good.
I don't know either. Could be the runt though. We had a Shih Tzu. My dad had a Shih Tzu when I was younger, and she was tiny because some Shih Tzus they get like big sometimes, and she was like this big and just tiny little Shih Tzu, but she was the runt. She was the tiniest of all of them. So yeah,
that's so cute. Yeah, she's crazy. She's literally a crackhead.
How old is she?
She's a year and a couple months. She turned a year in June, so she's still pretty young. But like, I don't know if she'll ever like not act like a puppy. Like she is an actual crackhead. Like she springs off of your back and jumps on the wall and does a backflip back on the bed, and like she's crazy as fuck. She's so funny though.
Yeah. Did you have pets growing up or?
No.
No, none.
No, Mexicans don't have pets.
They
we don't do that shit. No. We don't have pets. Like, Or even if like someone does have a dog, it's always an outside animal. Like they're never like domesticated inside.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I never had pets, and I always wanted a pet. As a kid, I was like begging my parents to get me a dog or a cat or something, or a bunny, like anything, and they would not get me pets. And so I was like, you know what? F you guys, I'm gonna get my own pet. And I remember I was in my room and I saw the roach crawl by my TV, and I grabbed the roach and I put him in an enclosure. I named him Anthony. He was everything to me. It was literally my first pet. And like I poked holes in the top, got some like crumbs from the kitchen, grass, bugs. I got a bunch of stuff and like kept him very well taken care of.
Oh my gosh, how long did he live?
Well, my mom found him like 3 days later and like crushed the shit out of him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she killed him and was like, never do that again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think like probably a couple months later, I decided to do on the roly-poly adventure. So I got a bunch of roly-polies together, had a little roly-poly circus, and like, you know, everything for them. And they killed all of those too. So, and then I got, what else did I have? I had a hamster, like a tiny little hamster too. And it was a boy hamster. And I don't know if you've ever seen like dwarf hamsters, you know, like the little ones.
Mm-mm.
They're super tiny, and it was a boy hamster. And after he wasn't like a baby hamster anymore, his balls grew so big to be like half of his fucking body. I'm so serious. Like his name was Hercules, and he was a tiny little dwarf hamster, and his ball sack would just like drag across him behind everywhere. His balls were huge. Crazy. And like apparently that happens because they're so small, their balls are massive. I'm like, geez.
I wonder if midgets have big balls.
I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Gotta account for something. I can't imagine. Yeah, I've always wondered that though about midget genitals. Are they like, is it like a normal, like do they have a normal penis size?
That's what it is, yeah.
Because it's
Or
like
is
if they're
it-
a midget, I can't imagine them
yeah.
having a 7-inch cock.
Because then it would look huge though.
Huge.
Because like, you know, like big guys, their dicks look small because they
Are so big.
they're bigger, yeah. But if you're a midget and you had a regular dick,
I can't
girls
even
would probably
imagine.
be all over you because it just looks big in comparison to your size.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, aren't their legs like 7 inches as is?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, could you imagine? Being, like,
How
a
would you
midget
know
with an
which one to
8-inch
put in the
dick?
hole?
Jeez, wow. I'm gonna look that up whenever I get home, but
Please send it to me. Whatever information
I'll look it
you
up.
find.
I'll look it up on Reddit and Pornhub. Don't you worry.
Mm.
I've never seen a midget naked, so I don't know. I've never seen a boy midget naked. Excuse me.
There's got to be like a midget strip club in Florida somewhere. I bet.
100%.
Yeah.
I know there's one in Alabama. I know there is. It's like very viral on Facebook. I'll send it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got to
Because
see
they have
that.
like midget wrestling is really big in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So they just took it and ran with it. We have gas stations ran by midgets only.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they actually have like a whole community. Yeah.
Are you from there?
Well, I'm from like the Panhandle,
Okay.
so Floribama area.
Okay.
Because like the part of Florida where I'm like used to live is 10 minutes from the Alabama state line. So it's like I did
okay.
more things in Alabama technically, and then once I graduated high school, I moved to Alabama.
Okay.
And I lived there for a while, and then I moved here.
When did you move here?
2020.
2020.
Missed
Okay.
the COVID. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. How long were you in Alabama for?
I graduated high school and I moved to Alabama like a year later, so probably like 3 or 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
I think. 3 or 4 years, and then in 2020 I moved to Melbourne, so
Yeah.
it was crazy. I lived in like the middle of nowhere, so whenever COVID happened, it was like, oh, this is the end of the world. You know what I mean? There was like the Piggly Wiggly's closed, so we got to get out of there. And it's just a lot of mom and pop shops, you know, like there isn't really like Publix and stuff there. So all of them closed, and it was kind of like at that point in COVID where we didn't know what was going to happen. So I heard Ron DeSantis was about that life. So I said, you know what? I'm taking off, brother. I got to go. So yeah, I moved here in 2020, and I got jobs and friends and stuff and moved out on my own because I lived with my grandparents whenever I first moved here, and then started doing my own thing, and I'm still here.
Yeah, despite COVID, do you like it here better regardless? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely like it here a lot better. There's things to do that isn't like drugs here, which is sick.
You can also do drugs here for sure.
Yeah, 100%. They're better actually.
Yeah.
So I do both, but
Yeah.
they here just has a lot more people. It has a lot more opportunities. The economy is better than here, honestly. Like, you have more potentials to make more money, and there's just more people here. So it benefits in all the ways.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's pretty much why we've stayed here, because as soon as all that shit happened in 2020, we were just like, we're lucky we're here, because we're hearing everything in like up north that's happening, and we're just like, thank God for Ron DeSantis. I don't know if anybody will ever say that again, but at least for that time, it was just like, couldn't get your nails done, but you go get Chick-fil-A, you know?
Yeah, and like I remember seeing so many people say like, oh, the strip clubs are open, but you have to show your vaccine card to go into strip clubs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't think they give a shit. You know what I mean? And it was like everything required you to be vaccinated and this and that. So Alabama wasn't that way, and neither was Florida. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we still had to wear the masks for a while. That always freaks me out whenever we used to wear masks. I just am so cringed out that we really did all that. It's so cringy.
Yeah, I was working in a warehouse for like 2 years. We had to wear masks, and like some people that worked at the place that I work at, they would, you know, just be like super on it or super not on it.
Yeah.
And the people that were super on it, you're just like, man, dude, like I've been sweating in here all day. Like we're unloading trucks. Like people don't know what I'm saying because I'm trying to yell at them from across.
I know. Yeah. I feel like you look like someone that was like very against masks. Like, you know, like those specific people that are like, I will never. You strike me as that type of person.
That's how I thought, but I acted a different way, you know, have to comply with the BS. But, you know, I mean, I was worried about my family because my family kind of like, you know, they got it, they did the thing, and now all
people were dying from that shit. COVID really hit the whites bad on that one. I don't know why
for real.
Like,
but it's because they're so unhealthy.
COVID took them bitches out. I don't know what was going on, but like I saw so many deaths and stuff, and it was pretty much always a white person.
Yeah, it's something in our genetics. Maybe it's reparations.
Yeah, it's probably all the fucking lies you guys tell. It's in the lungs, so it just took you guys out. I don't know. It was very scary. I got COVID, and I literally thought I was gonna die.
It did suck.
It was horrible. Like,
it took me
I could
out for
not
2
breathe.
weeks.
I was coughing so hard I shit myself.
Yeah.
Like every cough, I was like a little bit of shart was coming out every cough, and it was fucking insane. Like it was so bad, and I was like hallucinating. I had fevers. I was like so cold. I was shaking. I'm like, I lost like 10 pounds because I wasn't eating.
Yeah, that's rough.
I need COVID again. I need COVID like 8 times. Honestly.
It was rough. I didn't have it as bad as you, but for the 2 weeks I had it, I was having breathing issues. Like I was getting panic attacks. I was like, I can't breathe.
Yeah. And then it like ensues anxiety because you like can't get yourself to feel normal again.
Yeah.
And like there's still stuff that I feel like I got from COVID. Like I don't know.
Yeah, long term, like
Yeah, like I always want to say like, oh, COVID made my memory bad, but that was definitely all the drugs. But I literally suck at remembering things. Like something will happen 3 days ago, and like someone will be like, yeah, we like had a whole discussion about it. I'm like, I've never seen you in my life. Like, what are you talking about? It's so scary. And yeah, like stuff tastes different now. Like I don't know what it is, but like chicken will never taste the same how it used to. I can't even explain.
Yeah, our genetics have been changed somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that people that were already sick were dying from it because I can imagine that anything on top of that has to be like,
it cut them down. It was bad.
Yeah, I shouldn't be laughing, but it's the only way we cope.
Yeah, I saw so many people like rest in peace to my grandpa, rest in peace to this. I'm like, geez, he's just hitting them by numbers.
Yeah.
COVID came back for vengeance. It was bad.
Yeah, and with seeing on the media how much they were just like, you're gonna die, it like made you even more anxious.
Exactly. And it's like, if you're a female, you're gonna die. If you're white, you're gonna die. Like
you're not gonna be able to have babies.
Yeah, it was so crazy. And like saying, don't get vaccinated because you'll never be able to get pregnant. I said, shoot me 4 times, doc. Put it in there.
Yeah, for some people, do it. You know. Yeah, I didn't do it. Clearly, you gauged correctly, but
yeah, I know. You seem like the type
yeah.
that's like so against vaccines and masks.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the
conspiracy
cars
central.
or the tattoos or like what it is, but it's definitely the vibe. It fits.
Yeah, no, but like my in-laws got the shot and they're old, older, and my mom got the shot. So I was just like, when all the information came out about it being like a lot of BS and not researched
Yeah.
as much as they
And
were
like
telling
causing like
people.
blood clots and stuff too.
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, now I'm worried for my family's health. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of that you're thinking about, but at the end of the day, you just gotta be like, all right, this is life now.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like I ate fucking McDonald's. I eat a McRib. Vaccine's not gonna kill me. You know what I mean? I'll be just fine.
Exactly. No, I think there was so many extremes on one side or the other. People couldn't just be like, hey, just like, well, I bet everybody do what they want. What are we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I'll always agree with that. But it was definitely a traumatic time in our world.
Yeah, no, I think it changed everybody in a way for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But also good things too, like you appreciate your family more kind of, and people are kind of trying to get back to basics, it seems like.
Yeah, especially like if you're locked in your house for 14 days and you can't really go anywhere or do anything. It drove me fucking crazy. I like was suicidal. I was like going through an identity crisis. I like cut all my hair off, dyed it. Like I was going absolute bonkers. Like I turned into the Joker because of quarantine. Like I got out and was like, who wants to die or live for me? You know what I mean? Like it was really, really bad. So yeah, definitely like going through that kind of makes you like stop and appreciate what we really have, even though people fucking suck and like can't drive and are pieces of shit sometimes.
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate being able to like be out in the world.
Yeah,
people.
like human connectivity and stuff.
Yeah.
It really did show that it's super important. Even if you only have a phone, you still need to connect with people in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why a lot of people get like messages misconstrued over text and stuff.
Oh, I'm the worst about it. I'm the worst about it. Someone could say, hey, how are you? And I'm like, are you mad at me?
Yeah, exactly. Like that everyone has the natural anxiety of thinking of all the options that what does that mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Like I can't. I'm way too sensitive to like only communicate over text or like anything really because I take everything so personally and like I'm so sensitive. Like if someone like ends their sentence with a period, I'm like, oh, they're pissed. They're about to block me. You know what I mean? Or like if someone says something off or like doesn't put the right emoji, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like I'm reading so into it and they're like, that was an accident. Sorry. And like they don't even think twice about it. That's what's so crazy.
I feel like everyone thinks like that and just a lot of people don't talk about it when they're texting.
Yeah, I'm like, what is happening? Like my dad will just okay me and I'm like, great, so I'm your least favorite daughter. Awesome. I don't know what happened there. You're disappointed in me and who I've become as an adult. Thank you.
You've disowned me.
Yeah, I'm like, great, you're disappointed in me. But yeah, I'm terrible about it. I'm very sensitive.
Where's your family stay at?
So my parents live in Alabama. And my grandparents on my mom's side live in Melbourne. And my dad's family all live in Texas. So, and the rest are kind of in hiding. We got to watch out. So, couldn't tell you where their whereabouts are. I'm not allowed to say it on camera.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We don't got to go into all that. No, but are you close with your family? You're pretty close with them?
Yeah. My parents are my best friends. They're my everything.
That's great.
Me and my dad are like this, like that's the homie for real. So I'm super close with my family. I pretty much always have been. My family's always been like really important to me.
And tight knit. Yeah,
super tight knit. And it's like one of those things where we almost know a little bit too much about each other. You know what I mean? Or like something happens between two people and the whole family knows. So we have our dysfunctions. We're crazy as hell, but I'm very close to my family.
Every family, right? Yeah. Do you guys do all holidays together, visit frequently and stuff like that?
Yeah, we try to. It's a little bit harder now because everyone lives in different areas now. But we always try to get together for holidays, birthdays, anything. It's super important to us to like always try to spend holidays together what we can,
Yeah. Do you notice as you get older, it's like harder to keep everyone connected just because everyone gets so dispersed? I'm just asking because of like I experienced the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like 4 different lifetimes worth of things will happen before I like call my parents and I'm like, hey, so just an update. I'm homeless or something. Like, just, I feel like I am not good about connecting people like into what's going on day to day because I'm so sporadic. It's really hard to like keep people updated. I'm like, you don't. I need to like design an app to be updated to my brain because there's no way you could keep up. Like, I don't know. Like, even today, I was like, you know what? I'm moving and I'm just like packing all my stuff up this morning and I'm like, maybe not today. Like, I have mental disorders, so I make a lot of crazy decisions at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to navigate that as an adult, to communicate with your family and like moving into the part of your life where you don't know what you should tell them and what you shouldn't tell them, and like maybe I should keep that between me and my significant other, or maybe I should keep that between me and my friends or like something. And so I'm moving into that phase because I've like always told my parents everything, like especially in my like adult life, not as a kid but as an adult. I like call my dad about everything. Like, hey, I just went on a date and this guy was really ugly. Or, like I'm stranded on the side of the road with a flat tire. Please help. You know what I mean? So I've always been like that, like just telling them about everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like now that I've moved into adulthood, I've been pretty good about not and like keeping things personal and, kind of going into that adult
Mm-hmm.
friendship that you have with your parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in that phase now because me and my husband been together for like 10 years. Like, we keep what happens in our house inside of our house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just kind of how we respect our relationship and stuff. Even with like, I'm not giving advice or anything, just saying how it works in my family. But like, I get that transition because like, it's hard to make that transition because like when I was with my mom, we talk about everything, but it gets to like a fine line of everything.
Yeah,
so I can
absolutely
understand how that can be hard to transition into that.
Yeah, especially whenever you like want to keep things, exciting and you want to keep things happy instead of, oh, everybody's got an opinion about something, because that's how families are, at least my family is. So yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's something that's really important. I'm not someone to take relationship advice from at all. If you know, you know. But that's something that I'm doing in this current relationship that I'm in, making sure that things stay just between us and not everything has to be discussed all the time to family or friends. Like, even friends can be just as toxic as family too, because I'm one of those friends that's like, if you vent to me too much about how much of a piece of shit he is, I'm gonna kill him. Like, I can't handle too much. You know what I mean? So I understand that aspect of it too.
Yeah, same thing with friends. I don't share. I mean, I share all the good things, of course, and couples fight here and there, but
Of course.
that's not, I don't hold value to those fights we have on our relationship, so there's no reason for me to discuss them with other people.
Yeah, especially if you're like not sure about how you navigated the fight or argument or whatever. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of times, like when I'm in emotion, because I have bipolar, so things are very extreme. I have bipolar and BPD, and so my emotions are not valid. They're valid, but they're not realistic, if that makes sense. I'm someone that exasperates my emotions on my own, and like everything is super intense, and like if someone has an attitude with me, I get really mad. It's not just, oh, that irritated me. It's like extreme emotions. So I know that in the midst of an argument, especially right after, I'm like, he's fucking stupid, he's an idiot, this and this and that. And then literally 10 minutes later, I'm like, that was me. That was definitely me. So I try not to exasperate the first phase of my emotions to other people because it's just not valid. It's not realistic.
It's good that you have that insight, that personal insight, though, because I feel like that probably took you a long time to get to like understand what you're going through and reflect on it later and be like, oh, like try to use, or not, I'm not saying try, but like, how to use that part of your brain where you're like, okay, I'm like, I know how to manage my stuff.
Absolutely.
So
I think it like definitely
mature.
Took me messing up a lot of relationships and making a lot of mistakes and fighting with my parents a lot and fighting with my family and just causing a lot of friction for me to finally realize that I can't act out of emotion immediately because my emotions aren't stable. I don't have stable emotions, especially in anger or sadness or any of those things. My emotions are not stable enough for me to present them to somebody else about an opinion or advice or how I should handle it, because I'm not thinking clearly. So it definitely took me a long time to get to that point, and it's a pretty recent change.
Well, I think even the way you describe that with how you go through that process, I feel like people could actually utilize that day to day, because a lot of people, when they have interactions with people, if they just had that thought in that moment and they're capable of having that thought because they're just, they're not dealing with, extra mental health stuff on top of just being a regular person, which I feel like a lot of people do have a lot of mental health. But if people just had that realization in the moment, I feel like people would get along a lot more.
Yeah, 100%. I think people are super like quick to have their emotions on it because that's natural. That's everyone's natural instinct, is to have feelings, and it happens fairly quickly. So, I think that if people kind of try to step aside and understand that I am being irrational, and that is okay. Like, it's not a negative thing. And I think I kind of got tired of everyone telling me that I'm overreacting, that I'm being irrational, that I'm all of these things, that I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I behave in a way that no one can ever say that to me ever again. Because it was so painful to always have to go through that and always have to hear that I was like, you know what? I'm going to react in ways where no one can ever say that I'm overreacting, or no one can ever say that I'm, being over dramatic. I don't want people to be able to say that. So
yeah, and I don't think that's a negative thing. I think that's because like you get to a point to where like you literally can't control what other people say or do, or how they treat you and things like that. And unless I think people should understand. I think people should understand mental health issues and understand how to navigate people and recognize those signs in people so they can be understanding. But you can't rely on other people to do that in the society we live in. So like for you to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to take care of myself and worry about myself is really awesome. Cause like, I feel like, at a point you got to be just like, yeah, I can't control what they're doing, what they're saying.
Yeah. And it's definitely not something that I do every time. Don't get me wrong. I still struggle with like the process and making sure that I still try to do that, but it's definitely not something I succeed at every time, for sure. I still, lose my cool. I still am over dramatic. I still do all of those things, but it's way less now. It's very rare occasions, and I'm pretty quick to be like, yeah, that was definitely me, my bad. You know what I mean? And I'm with someone that doesn't tolerate that and is very like, wants me to see things for how they are and isn't gonna allow me to, enrage the situation or make it worse. So it's definitely forced me to, not react in such an intense way right away.
Yeah, and you're almost kind of like just like it's almost like doing meditation every day. You're kind of like training yourself in a way, and it makes you feel better ultimately, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Having a mood disorder is one of those things where like it is an everyday thing. It's not just when things awry, it's every single day. You know what I mean? That you're having to have those discussions with yourself and, talk to yourself in those ways and make sure that you're being fair and you're being as stable as you possibly can, and just being realistic is the main goal, because with BPD especially, things are very unrealistic. You're not seeing reality. You're not processing reality. You're not really thinking about what's actually going on. It's just about how you feel. And that's two completely different things. And both are completely okay. It's just you have to step back in yourself and realize that I'm the one that's perceiving this whole situation that way. So I need to step back and like let myself deal with that before I return back to the situation. So yeah, it's definitely an everyday responsibility.
No, I look up to you for that for sure, because I really feel like everyone should act that way in general life and just try to, because if things would be better, I feel like, but you can't control people.
You can't. It is hard though. I wish I could control people sometimes.
Yeah, right.
I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you're out here controlling life, out there in Austin, fucking doing it. Yeah,
for real. It's crazy because it's like there's so many parts of my life where I feel like I'm in control, and then other parts that I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on there, brother. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's an up and down thing, and I think people perceive it as like, oh, you're doing well, you've got your shit together, and I'm like, if you only knew.
Yeah.
I haven't seen my debit card in 6 months and my license is suspended. So.
Yeah. Listen, a lot of people make judgments from first perceptions, and it's natural. It's human nature, but
Yeah.
people need to learn to grow out of it and just get to know people instead.
Yeah. I think that's a huge, huge part that nobody really wants to do for some reason. I don't know why.
That's why I'm doing this podcast, because I'm like, I can barely talk to y'all at the shows. Let me actually get to know these people.
Yeah. That's how I feel too, is that like, I would just have conversations with people that I've seen so many times that I'm just like, wow, I literally never knew any of that about you. You know what I mean? And like, I'm like, we've been, like seeing each other for the last like 2 years, and I don't know anything about you really.
Yeah.
Some people I want to stay that way, but others not so much.
Yeah. How's it been so far doing the podcast and everything? You shout out the name.
Yeah. Unstable Creatures podcast on YouTube. It's been really good. It's been sick. It's always something that I've wanted to do, and it's crazy because I've had like the name and the art and everything for so long. I never felt like I was at a mental place where I was ready to do that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably could have, but I was never at the place where like, if anything were to happen, I would have been able to handle it, if that makes sense. I have crippling imposter syndrome. So anything that I do doesn't really feel right or feel correct or feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, because I have no idea. And yeah, it's definitely came into my life at the time that it needed to. And it's been a blast. It's been so much fun, and I can't wait to watch it grow, and hopefully be something that I envision it to be, if that makes sense.
Well, if you're envisioning it, it'll definitely happen. Right?
Yeah. Manifestation is crazy.
Yeah.
It's definitely real. And I like tell people that all the time. I've manifested many things happening in my life, and it's very weird because, again, with imposter syndrome, it doesn't ever feel like it's actually happening.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like I feel like I'm just like watching this happen to me. It doesn't feel like it's happening to me.
I'm literally like on the same wavelength with that stuff, because I've been same thing with all this stuff. Like, even though I'm just like I'm doing it, I'm still like, what am I doing?
Right.
That's the only way I can put it into words.
100%. And I completely understand that feeling. I literally do, because that's like what I've been going through for the last like couple months, was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like I know that it's like I'm supposed to be doing it, but I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like, it's very weird. Like, I've talked to my family about it and like all these things, and they're like, oh, well, like, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? And I'm like, I just quite haven't figured that out yet. I don't know why, but I know that I'm supposed to be, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a really cool feeling. Manifesting is super surreal, is like the only way that I can really explain it, is that it's a surreal experience, and like it hasn't fully sank in yet, if that makes sense.
It's almost like I've been having, I want to say this because I want to know if you can relate. I've been having these there was these two paths in my mind after Kill Tony happened.
Yeah.
And I was either like, okay, so this is like the time. And I literally saw my two paths. It was either moving forward with this, continuing to do comedy and making this the rest of my life, or it was, being a typical corporation, stay at home, suburban family type life.
Yeah.
And I looked at those two paths and I was like, oh, fuck no. Get that one out of here. And when I made that decision, it was just like, I could see the future. I was like, oh wait, but it was like, it wasn't like I'm going to do this like you're saying. It was like, my path is already laid out for me. I just have to let everything happen.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is crazy, because that conversation of like, what am I going to do with this? And what are the two paths that I can take? It's so funny because I did that a year ago. Like, I had that conversation with myself of, this was at the point where I was on a lot of shows every month. I was constantly at mics, at shows, writing. Like, it consumed my whole calendar, if that makes sense. And at the time I was like with someone that didn't really support it and didn't really give a fuck. So that also like made me doubt myself. But I remember like spending all of this time and energy and money and resources and all these things. Like, I'm not at home, so I'm not doing this, this, and this, but I am doing this, doing comedy. And I remember like having the conversation with myself for a week or two about, you know, is this worth what I'm doing? Like, I need to pick my path. I need to pick my priority. Because if comedy is my priority, then my life's going to keep looking like this. I've just got to get better at balancing it. Or am I just wasting my time? And if something were to happen, do I really want that? Do I want 200,000 followers on fucking Instagram? And do I want 1 million subscribers on my YouTube? Do I want to be famous? Do I want any of that? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And like, it sounds so delusional because it's like,
dude,
it's
I'm getting goosebumps while you're talking, because every time I get in the shower, because it's like the only time I have to think other than when I'm writing, I have these thoughts, exactly what you're saying. I'm just like, because it starts to become real in your head, and you're just like, wait, like you're saying, I've said those exact words. Do I even want to be famous?
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I see the things that'll happen if I am.
Correct.
And how I'll be spending my time. And I'm just like, I had to accept that. And I still question it.
Yeah.
I still question it constantly.
It was 100% the verbatim conversation I had with myself for like 2 weeks. And, you know, I obviously, I watch a lot of comedy. I ingest a lot of podcasts and shows and all these things about comedians and Patreons and all these things. I watch a lot of it and I ingest a lot of it. And at the time I was just like, I don't know if that's the life that I want. Like, if a talent agency was like, hey, we're going to put you on a tour for a year and you're going to do this many shows and you're going to be on tour for a year for this much money. You ready? Am I like, is that something that I want? Like, do I want to be away for a year and be on the road and all these things? And is that something that I want? Because I don't know. Like, it's tough. And that at that time I decided, you know what, whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. And I've seen so many comedians, especially newer ones, say it's okay to say no, and it's okay to take your time, and it's okay to stay relevant. It's okay to make your own decisions. And so I was like, you know what, if in a crazy thing that were to happen to me, I will know what to do. And I will trust myself enough to know that's what I want to do. And it's definitely scary because it's like, okay, I'm 26, so I want to have kids before I'm 32. And so it's like, I've got 7 more years to decide which route I'm going to go. You know what I mean? Would I rather be a wife that lives in a house, that has a kid and you know, dogs and takes care of the house and does this? Or do I want to be you know, outgoer, a comedian that's out late and isn't a mom and probably isn't going to get married as soon as I would think I was going to? And, you know, it's all of that is the discussion that I had with myself. And I finally was like, you know, I love it too much to just not. That's just doesn't seem like an option to me. It would feel wrong to do that. You know what I mean? Like, there were other things that I was fine with not doing, like singing. I really liked singing. Art. I like art. There was a lot of things that I was like, you know, if I don't do it again, like, I'll be okay. You know what I mean? This is not one of those things. So, you know, I'm going with my gut right now. And I think that's the most important thing. And Kill Tony for me was definitely one of those feelings of like, my pathway decision comes up again. You know what I mean? Even though I know what I'm choosing, which is comedy, but it still is something you think about, you know, especially as a woman. I feel like it's more of a thought than a man's.
100%. And when you're talking about the kids thing, because like that was my thought around my future, is because I want to have one kid. For the past, before I started comedy, because I had no other loves in life, I was like, all right, let's have a kid. Let's do the normal life things. But as soon as I started comedy, same thing. I made the decision that this is it. Like, if I lost this, I would probably, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I basically was like, all
Chick-fil-A
right,
not
well,
giving me the right sauce makes me want to do that. I couldn't imagine anything more severe than that.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm 29 and I was like kid, but now I'm like, my husband's super supportive. He helped me put like this room together. He's been supporting me with everything. Like,
that's honestly
I'm
the most important part
so
too.
thankful because I mean, for him to find out 9 years later his wife wants to do comedy, like, he had every right to be like, go fuck yourself. You know, because this is a life decision, just like having a kid. So, but he does YouTube stuff too. I think that's why he's really understanding and supportive too. So, but yeah, with the kid thing, just like being 29, we sat down, had the discussion, and I'm just like, all right, are you cool with like till I'm 35?
Yeah.
You're cool with till I'm 35? Let me get some years to at least get something solid and like consistent, like starting the podcast. Because once I have a kid, you know, I'm not going to be able to do comedy as much.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So let me at least have something that I can do in the meantime and maybe be able to grow after that. But yeah, making those decisions and understanding where your life is going to go and how you want it to go it's very difficult.
It's definitely just a conversation that you have to have with yourself, because I think that it's what's going to give you the drive and the inspiration to keep going is having the conversation with yourself of where you want it to go. You know what I mean? Like, there's, we were just talking about this. There's so many comedians that don't have a goal, that don't have this is where I see myself, this is what I want. And so they're never gonna, prosper in comedy. They're never going to push themselves because they don't have a vision. And that's with anything though. That's with anything in life. If you don't have a vision, you're never gonna get there if you don't know where you're supposed to go. You know what I mean? And it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with comedy being a hobby, it being a, guilty pleasure. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you were just like, I just want to stay local, this is all I want to do, who gives a shit? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when you shit on other people that are trying to do more is when it's a problem.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think that's why the game is what it is, though, because you see people that have made it and you hear the same conversations that we're having, they have as well, that, people get held back because of these things and because of fear and because of ego and because of all these other things. So, and that's why you see those people that have made it because they've been focused and worried about their craft and nothing else but that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's frustrating, but at the same time, I think I'm just someone that's very supportive of people can do things however they want to do it, and I don't think there's no right or wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, we all have no idea what we're doing. We're all trying to chase the same dream. We're all trying to do the same thing, and everyone's going about it different ways. And I think that's what makes a comedy scene, is people going about things in all different directions, in every different way, in every different aspect and perspective and path and everything. And that's why it's a comedy scene, because you have a bunch of people that are coming together to complete a goal for themselves in tons of different ways. And I think it's sick. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with, people wanting to take their own path. If you don't write for the first 6 months that you do in comedy, you just get up there and improv and crowd work, who gives a shit? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And if you want to spend 2 hours every single day writing and coming up with new jokes that you're fine with bombing and you're okay with not, knowing if it's right or not, and that's what you'd rather do is read from a piece of paper for the first couple months and do it, then literally who cares? Like, I don't understand why people have to have opinions about somebody trying something.
Yeah. I think just like I think the technicality, worrying about technicalities instead of letting people express themselves on stage is the issue. Just let people do their thing, and if you want to help here and there, that's awesome. But I think the pushing of technicalities pushes people out of the scene sometimes. I feel like, not ours, I'm not talking about any specific scene, but just comedy scenes in general. It's just like, I feel like people do get pushed out sometimes.
Because they don't fit the forum, or they don't fit the mold, or they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And to me, that is just, it's absolutely insane. It doesn't make any sense to me, because it's at the end of the day, it's an art form. And like you're saying, you should be able to express yourself in the way that you see fit and the way that you want to. And there's never going to be anything wrong with that. There's no right way or wrong way to do that. And people that aren't going to go somewhere will always weed themselves out. Like it is not our place to feel like we need to do that. Like it will happen. You know what I mean? And it's like, just let people be happy.
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing I've learned is like you look at all the people that are famous comedians and you look at all the shit that people talk about them from a comedy perspective in general, and you notice that you're just like, oh wait, well, like everyone likes their own person. That means that everybody can have their own fans. Doesn't matter how funny or not funny somebody thinks you is.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's more so what it's about, is that everybody like will fit in somewhere. Everybody has a place somewhere, and it will all work itself out in the end the way that it's supposed to. And that's the sick thing about it.
Shit talking will always be there. Just gotta ignore it and know that it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, don't get me wrong, I love talking shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm an avid hater. I love it. But at the same time, there's definitely time and place, and there's right opinions and wrong opinions. I don't care what anybody says.
No, I completely agree.
There is. And so, you know, it's okay to have an opinion. It's totally fine to be a hater. It's totally fine to be all those things. But, like, say it to your mom. You know what I mean? Or, like, talk to your dog about it. Don't, you know, have to, like, go out and prove a point all the time.
Yeah, and blast things all over, and it gets excessive sometimes. Not just like in general life, just like it's just too much judginess.
Yeah, 100%. It's a lot of opinions. I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm at a family reunion. Like, you guys have so much to fucking say about everything. So yeah, I think trusting your own instinct and your own vision at times is the better decision, even though it feels hard, because I don't trust myself pretty much with anything.
And it's hard on top of that, because like as much as we say like don't listen to, you know, the bullshit from other people and the shit talk, it's like no matter what, we're human. Yeah. So like us already having imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and all these things and overthinking, and then having people talk shit on top of it sometimes can get overwhelming. Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing, is like you were talking about earlier, like just like training ourselves to be like bulletproof to that shit.
Yeah, you definitely have to be, because if not, it's just gonna hold you down and hold you back, and it's not healthy. You know, I think we're all meant to listen to our own advice and listen to our own opinions about ourselves, and just go with what you feel like is right, and that will never be the wrong thing. If you just go with what you feel like is natural to you and is the right thing, everything will be completely fine. Yeah. Everyone will be okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna work out well.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. You're fucking funny as shit, motherfucker. God, I can't believe, because I was telling you I'm so selfish, because like every time we do a show, I'm like, if I'm watching people inside, I can't, it's so hard for me to focus before my set. Yeah. Because I'm in my own head, and I start getting anxious while I'm inside because I'm not listening to anything. But when I'm outside chatting around, I'm not thinking. Yeah. So I don't come in and watch people set, which I feel shitty about, but I'm willing to admit that I'm a shitty person for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that you have to make your own decision. And I think that a lot of times it's honestly healthier to not watch everybody every time, all the time. I think that it allows people grace to kind of grow and do their thing without fear of judgment. Because I personally, like, if I have a bunch of comedians that I know have seen me do this joke a bunch of times, I would rather they not be in there. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me. But yeah, I do that too.
Yeah. And then like right after my set, I'll just get out of there, because I'm like, all right, I'm done. It's out. Let's go. But no, I see, like, I saw you finally for like the first time, and it had been like months because I was just like in that process, or I still do it. But I walked in, I watched you, and I'm like, motherfucker, this bitch is funny. Yeah. I'm like, I can't believe I've missed this the whole time. Like, you are the funniest motherfucker. And dude, watching you, I'm just like, I can't wait to get as good as you, because you're so you're you on stage.
Yeah.
And you're so funny at the same time. I'm just like, I can't wait to get that comfortability I see in you because you're so comfortable up there. Like, I don't know how you feel inside, but I
Not
see
at
you.
all. Yeah.
You look like you naturally like belong there and you're just having a conversation with people. And I want to get like that. So I'm like watching you. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that has come about slowly-ish. I definitely don't feel confident pretty much ever unless I'm like getting really big laughs and you know, obviously the normal egotistical bullshit, but I never necessarily feel comfortable on stage, especially because the nature of my jokes and like what I'm doing, and then obviously I want like acceptance, and I'm never like super secure about how I look. I'm always insecure. So it's something that doesn't come naturally to me, but it's one of those things where you overcompensate because it's not natural. And I want to seem super confident on stage. I want that to be the thing that people say about me. And even whenever I was on Kill Tony, that's something that they told me, was that like I was super confident on stage, and it's crazy to even hear that or like be able to perceive that onto people because it's really not how I feel. And it's an overcompensating thing and it really works.
That's good. No, I need to learn from that for sure.
Yeah.
I hear something in the kitchen, so I'm just going to check because my husband's not here. So I'm just...
Well, the door definitely opened and closed. Okay. Did you not hear earlier?
He might have come in, yeah.
I hope so. Because I heard it.
Let me okay, so we can keep going. You're talking about the confidence on stage, Kill Tony.
Yeah, the confidence on stage. It definitely was something that came a little bit after I had been doing it for maybe a month or two. I started to get a little more comfortable, and I think I'm still like working on that for sure, but it's something that I want people to emanate from my presence and my comedy. And I think also, like, I hate to play the card, but honestly, being a woman comic, like, you definitely have to be a little more confident on stage unless that's, like, your thing, because everyone can, again, go about things however they want to. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the way that has always worked for me, and it makes me feel a lot better. Even if I'm not sure of a joke, I'm going to, like, pretend like I'm super sure about it. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I that's why I'm like, my main goal right now is to just get comfortable and also write jokes and try to be funny. Yeah. But just getting comfortable on stage for me is number one, because like I said, watching you definitely do it for whatever that I got to learn that skill. Because
honestly, what helped me, and again, I'm always going to go back to people can do things however they want. So the way that I decided that I wanted to force myself into that is I'm way more scared of doing bad than I am of doing good, right? I have a crippling fear of embarrassing myself, of bombing. Like, it's a horrendous feeling. I don't ever want to be embarrassed. Comes with social anxiety. So I would force myself to not write. Is like, I'm going to go up there and not have anything to say, and you better get people to laugh, because if not, you're going to, unalive yourself. So it's that's kind of what I just did, is that I would force myself to get on stage and not write and not have material or not have a set thing that I'm going to say, because it's never going to push me out of that box. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did, and I decided to start kind of crowd working and thinking of things that had just happened to me just that day. That's it. I can't do anything else. I can't do stories. I can't write things that I've been working on for a while. It's only things that happened to me that day. So that way I can only go off of those things, and it has to be relatable and quick and make it funny and work some things in, crowd work, improvise. Like, improv is the biggest part of what has helped me be confident on stage. Not improv classes per se, but just improv as a whole, and practicing improv is what brought me from point A to point F, with confidence, is that. And that's the way that I went about it. It works for some people, doesn't for others. That's just what felt natural and right to me, was that if I can conquer comedy today, then I'll be fine for everything else. So I forced myself to do that for a couple months, and then it just kind of happened naturally, and the blossoming happened kind of. And it's funny because you see, like, at Beachside Retro, I'd seen a comedian that hadn't seen me for a long time, like a year probably, and he watched me at Beachside Retro, and I had like the set of the night is what other people told me. I'm not saying that, but period. And, you know, I did super well and there was a lot of people in there. It was a lot of laughter. I feel very good about that set. And I can confidently say that I did really good. And, he saw me and was like, what the fuck? Like, you got funny, you know what I mean? And like, for people to acknowledge the change, because it wasn't that I necessarily got funnier. I just look better and it feels better to laugh whenever you're watching me instead of like, oh my God, she looks like she's about to pass out. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's kind of what worked for me. And that's what I did. And I don't necessarily do it anymore, but it brought my comedy a large stride of confidence and helped me in a lot of different ways.
It's interesting you say that because I've never like thought about it as something I could force myself to do. I've only done it because I've known that I was in a room that I'm not going to get any laughs because it's just comedians. I was in Austin just recently and I was doing jokes. I was doing my jokes that were written. Some open mics, I would try some new stuff out that I'd written. And it's comedians. So if you're not like going off the cuff, I feel like they're just like not really, you know, they're not. Yeah. And you're not really performing in front of like, obviously I want to make them laugh. Like that's what I want, but like it's more difficult. So finally towards the end of my trip, what you're saying that you like force yourself to do, I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to say something that I just thought of. And I got all of them to laugh. And I'm just like, I need to get that comfortable to where I can work outside the box. So I think I'm going to take that and try that and try to force myself to do that and see what it does for me.
It definitely helped me a lot. And also like with comedian audience rooms is obviously the hardest of all because it's just a lot of comics and they don't really give a shit about what you're saying. They're not paying attention. They've seen a lot of things and we're all pretty burnt out on comedy. So it's like, it's going to take a lot for us to laugh sometimes. But I definitely think that with comedians or open mics that it's just a lot of comics. I really just try to be myself and not care about if they're laughing or not because I know that I can be undeniable to the point where you can't help but laugh. You know what I mean? Like no matter what it is. And I don't care even if you don't. Like that's the part of the confidence that it's brought me is that like I know that something I say is going to make you laugh and that's enough for me. You know what I mean? And that I will be okay with that, you know? So it's hard. And you obviously don't want to bomb in front of your peers. So it's like one of those things.
Yeah. Cause it's always like, those are the people not peers specifically, but in general comedy, when you're performing somewhere, you want to impress those people that are booking shows and doing that. Cause it's not always necessarily about the crowd. Like you also have to impress those people too sometimes. So I think that skill is like really, really useful for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something that I think, has helped my comedy in general and just has helped me get to the point where I am now that no matter what room I do, no matter how many people are in there, I don't care. I know that I will always figure it out and it will always be pretty good. You know, it's always going to be like pretty good to great. And I'm cool with staying in that range right now. You know what I mean? As long as it's not bad to okay, I'm straight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's difficult. Confidence is definitely probably the hardest part about it. It's, to me, the hardest part. I think the being funny and the writing and talking and all those things are pretty easy. If it's already something you want to do, you're pretty comfortable with being on stage and talking. It's the confidence part. That's, I think, what holds a lot of people back and held me back and can ruin a comedian set or just their career in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate this conversation because I think it's going to open up another stage for me now that I'm thinking about it, to be honest, because that's where I lacked completely on Kill Tony. Because my jokes, I feel like my jokes, except for one of them was stupid and horrible, but the other three, well, I'm just being honest. It's just the other three. I feel like they were, you know.
I'll say this because I love you to death. I absolutely love the self-awareness because this is my thing. I love when someone can just tell it exactly how it is and not like tiptoe around it or like want people to like, oh, you did great. You know what I mean? I'm like, as soon as you put in the chat, like, well, I was like, you know, I love her for that. And to me, it's way funnier now because she's like, you know, it wasn't the best that you've ever had. Obviously, that's fine. Who cares? But I love the self-awareness. That's all I just need to say about it, because it's the best thing ever.
I think my other 3 jokes were okay for where I'm at in comedy. So I think what held me back was the confidence, because I was clearly nervous. You could tell that I was trying to overcompensate with tone instead of just trying to be comfortable in the moment. So I think just like realizing that, because that was like talking about how comfortableness is really my main goal. I think that's going to help me just doing that. So
I mean, and it's also too like one of those experiences may have been what had to have happened for you to realize it. You know what I mean? Like that's, to me, that's the whole point of it. Like regardless of what people want to say, Kill Tony is an open mic. You know what I mean? It's a mic where you practice comedy, and that's what's supposed to happen. Is that like, if you go there and you see, that will tell you exactly what your weak spots are. Like exactly what they are. Because to me, like, I know that I did as good as I could have imagined myself to, but I also know that I don't trust myself. And that's what I learned, is that I don't trust myself. I'm not as confident in my riffing and quick wittiness as I thought I was. And so like I'm here and there's a million chances to say something funny. A million. It's so fast. There's so many points to say something funny and get something in. And I held back a little bit more than what I wish I would have. And it's because I didn't trust myself completely. Like, you know, there's just things that I thought of that I wanted to say, and I should have just let myself just say it and go with it, because it's me. And I didn't quite, if it's on a scale of 1 to 100, I probably was at like an 88. And it makes me so angry that I couldn't just push myself the other 12 more notches. So yeah, that's something that I think Kill Tony is just beautiful for, is especially if you are like really taking comedy seriously and it's something that you want to do, whatever your weak spot is, that experience will tell you exactly. And you got out there and you were coherent, you had great diction, you said your jokes, you were confident, at least in the joke aspect of an interview, maybe not so much, but the jokes, you like went out there, I'm Alex, these are my jokes, you stood tall, you didn't like fiddle or fawdle or forget, or like, you know, you seemed very like, this is who I am and this is what I'm presenting to you. You know what I mean? Like it's very that energy, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I think that like you can always look at it as your strengths too. Like I know that even if I'm put under immense pressure, I'm gonna get up there and tell my damn jokes. Period. What happens during it, I don't know. But I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna say it. And that's a good thing. There's a lot of people that can't do that. So
that's why I'm so excited to see when I can get on, like next time I go on, because I'm just like, I want to see that progression, and I want to just keep seeing that progression at least once a year, you know, or once every 6 months, something like that. I'll try. Who knows? Can't predict the future, but I can.
Exactly. Actually, you are sitting here with 2 fortune tellers as we speak. So it's sick, and it's definitely like people having negative opinions about how well you did or didn't do. Like, to me, that's just the craziest thing, because it's really about, you know, what I learned, and that's the most important thing. And if something great comes out of it, wonderful. If something doesn't, who gives a fuck? Like, you still learn something, and now you can have that experience and come back and like really amplify it and work on it. And that's something that I'm working on, is definitely the wittiness and trusting myself. Because like I kill harder at Chumley's than I did with the wittiness. And if I would have just channeled in that person of me and not given a fuck if it gets a laugh or not and just said it anyway, I would have been at 100%. You know what I mean? But I didn't. And it's sad. It is definitely aggravating and makes me like want to punch myself in the head, because it's like I know that I could have done just a little bit more, and it's a horrible feeling.
But that's what makes literally any comedian better. If that's all I feel like that's what makes good comedians. I mean, when you're so worried about your stuff and you want to make it better, you're just like, you piece of shit, you should have done that.
Especially when you
it
like
makes you better.
Think about it up there and you choose not to say it. That's like the worst part is like
holding back.
It's horrible. Like you think about it and you're like, fuck, dude, why did you do that? Like that would have killed. You know what I mean? Like that's the worst. That's literally the worst. But I'm trying not to beat myself up about it because I'm so bad about that. And like I know that when I watch it back and people watch it, they're gonna be like, holy shit, you did amazing. But in my head, I'm like, it could have been the best you've ever seen. Like it could have been like just that little bit more. So you know, it's definitely something you like, it's an inner conversation you have with yourself. But it was a very surreal experience, and it's definitely not sunken in yet. Like I'll be at work and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like you were on fucking Kill Tony, bro. Like
I do the same thing.
I'm like over here like cleaning up after my coworkers and I'm like, bro, you were like on Kill Tony. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And it's like, God, I don't know. It sucks so bad. I'm like, literally.
The anticipation is the worst.
Yeah. I'm like over here having to donate plasma so I can pay my rent. And I'm like, dude, you were on Kill Tony. Like, what happened to you? Like, you've let yourself go. Like, it's such a crazy feeling, genuinely.
Yeah. And then knowing what's going to come, because you know a general path of your future. So just like knowing what's going to come, like that impatience of knowing that you're not going to have to deal with this shit anymore is like, but when is it going to come? I know it could take months or years, but like when?
Yeah. That's like the other thing about it is like, I see myself there all the time and I envision it and I picture it and I can feel it and I know that something's going to happen. I don't know what, I don't know how, I don't know, but I know that it's going to, and it's such a aggravating feeling to just be like, but when though? Because I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy the different stages that we still have the same feelings and same kind of, I mean, it's not weird or strange. I think it's just natural. I feel like a lot of people that have this envision of their future feel the same way.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely like, it really stems from like the conversation that we were saying, the paths that you choose and that 2-path conversation. Because I feel like if people don't have that conversation with themselves, then they're just not on that wavelength, and again, that's completely okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with doing years of comedy and not knowing. Like that's okay too. It's just more so when you make the conscious decision, it just becomes reality, and you like kind of watch all of the pieces of the puzzle kind of fall in line and make sense for what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's pretty much how my podcast was birthed, because after the Kill Tony, I was like, well, I don't know what's going to come out of this, but let me try to get ahead of it. I've always wanted to do a podcast, so why wait? Yeah. Why not just start now? So I think it's just everything that comes after is natural, and just go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I had the podcast like idea and name and art and everything for like a year and a half before I actually did anything with it, because again, it was always the confidence thing and the mental aspect. I just wasn't there. But then I don't know, like things just fell into place, and I had a lump sum of money that I was like, I need to find something to do with this, and I think now's the time for me to invest in the podcast equipment. And I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if it's going to suck. I don't know if people are going to watch. I have no idea, but we're going to try. And now it just feels like the time. And then Kill Tony happened, and, these people started coming in my life, and it goes
boom, boom, boom. It's one thing happens after another. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like everything kind of fell in place, and I'm like, damn, like that's great. Like I started it when I was supposed to, and, have some episodes in before KT drops, and it'll be, it'll fall into line the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. Yeah, I mean, just it's crazy I do appreciate the moments when I think about this, like what I'm doing now, and I look back and I'm just like, I know I'm not doing much, but a year in, I'm just like, I never even thought.
Yeah.
Like I thought about it, like, kind of like dramatically in my head, but the general thought, the human thought that holds you back, like you're saying, like, you don't know it's gonna, but once it happens, you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one of those things that you don't really process it until you're doing it and it feels better than life did before. You know what I mean? So it's like that's kind of how I've been gauging it, and it's very crazy. It doesn't feel real sometimes.
I'm so excited to see your episode. It's so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally watch it back and you know, I have some inklings and some connections of like what's gonna happen, and I'm kind of like one of those things where I don't really know what to say about it. I don't really have an opinion yet, and I'm excited to watch it back. I'm excited to read all the hate comments. I'm excited to hear all the hate comments. So yeah, it's definitely I'm excited for it, but I'm very nervous.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be super cool, and I just can't wait to see it. And honestly, just to watch you on that stage, it's just so cool because like you're like Jenny got on too. Like it's just cool to see people from here like doing the shit. Doing shit. Cause it's just like you listen to like podcasters that are comedians, and when they get together and they talk about how they came up together, like a lot of people, I was talking to Joe about this, a lot of people fantasize about being on Joe Rogan's podcast or being these people's friends or breaking into that circle. Guys, this is our circle.
Yeah.
The people we're growing up with now, we're going to be the guys. I'm not even going to say not me. We're going to be the guys at the end of it that are going to be the ones in those places, you know, supporting each other and being in that circle. And it's going to be our own circle, and it may not break in. Maybe things will mesh down the road just because we all work in comedy, but it's like, it's cool to see everyone get out there and do their shit and have the motivation to like.
Yeah. And I think it definitely is like a huge part to just not be competitive, obviously, and be happy for everyone and understand again that everyone's got different paths and whatever people are doing that works for them is great. And I understand the fantasizing about, you know, wanting to be in that group of people, obviously, because they're what's popping right now. They're the whole world. You know what I mean? They're the comedians of the world. Like that's obviously who you want to be in contact with. And it will happen if you want it to happen and you're at that level and things work out the way that's supposed to. But at the same time, like you're saying is true too. I mean, we are also a pretty big comedy scene that is very well known in a lot of areas, surprisingly so. You know what I mean? Like, even though we kind of, it's just, oh, it's Melbourne, you know what I mean? Or it's Brevard. But at the same time, people in Austin know a bunch of us, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of us go over there and kill it. And there's people that are from this comedy scene that move to Austin that are doing some cool ass shit. And so it's definitely crazy, and we're not a small comedy scene. Like, people know about Brevard, you know what I mean? And Orlando specifically too. So it's a big deal. And I think once you start treating it like it's a big deal, it changes your perspective and gives you a lot of gratitude for what we've got going on and where we live, and, you know, what we have. Not fucking it up is the most important thing.
Yeah, we're learning. Yeah, but it's just in general, just like it's almost like one big comedy scene, because all these people that you're running into when you're traveling, and you're going to know these people forever as long as everyone stays in it together. So, I mean, both aspects, like you said, like we can all do what we want.
Yeah,
just got to do it and supporting each other. I feel like is, if you want to do anything, that's the best thing to do. But if not, I mean, it's just
and like don't create battles that like splits the comedy scene. You know what I mean? Like if the argument is 50-50 where people on one side, people on the other, then it's just stupid enough to argue about. That means nobody's right or wrong because everyone's got an opinion. But I think, all in all, to say it's fair to say that everyone knows wrong and everyone knows right, and the people that decide to just try to fuck it all up will weed themselves out and will never truly ruin a comedy scene. Like it's just not gonna happen. So yeah, I think it's really about just creating the unity and just being like super grateful for where we live and that we've got a scene, because I feel like I would have done comedy way sooner if it would have been something relevant where I lived, you know? I just lived in an area where there was no comedy scene. There's no comedy shows, like there's nothing. And it was always just something that I see on TV and I'm like, wow, I wish I could be that one day. You know what I mean? And then I moved to a place where there's tons of us. So, yeah, it's cool. It's sick.
Yeah, I'm super appreciative because I'd never even thought about doing comedy. My whole life was surrounded by comedy, but I never realized it was a job that could be done, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was super grateful that I was able to find places to perform and just how good the scene is right now in Brevard for what it is. Like we have a lot of shows going on, so it's nice to not have to drive to Orlando every single day.
Yeah, 100%. And I know that like I started doing comedy off of a dare. I was drunk as fuck, and one of my friends dared me to sign up at Pineapples whenever it was still an open mic, and yeah, the rest was history. I did it and did way better than I thought I was going to, and I was just like, that feeling that just happened, I have to do this for forever. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I can't, you know the feeling. Every comic knows the feeling. So it's like, it was just like a drug, basically, and I kept doing it and, you know, took on and off periods here and there because of just mental health. But, yeah, it's a decision that I will never regret. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, when I did my first open mic at Beachside Retro, I came home that night and I told my husband, I was like, I can't ever stop doing this.
Yeah.
That feeling you're saying, oh, God.
Yeah.
Still haven't gotten that first day one.
Yeah. You have shows where it definitely gives you the same exact feeling, and it just keeps you back in, you know what I mean? Because it's just nothing will ever like really top that feeling.
Yeah, I think the closest I've got was Madcaps just recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I did it was a 50, I think it was 50 to 60 people in that small room.
Yeah, Madcaps gets a little filled up.
Yeah, I was I was comfortable finally, and I was being loose and like trying to, you know, just be up there and say whatever was on my mind. And it's like, it's the best show I've had to date.
Gotcha.
And I was just like, oh, fuck, I can't wait for the next one and the next one and the next one. Yeah, because it feels great.
Yeah, it does. It's intoxicating. For sure. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, so you have plans to move to Austin, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Something that I'm going to be working towards. It's the goal for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully ASAP.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if you have like a date yet, or if you're still trying to solidify like.
Yeah, still trying to solidify some things because, you know, I have an apartment here and money, jobs, everything. So it's definitely gonna be a big decision, but it's I am safe to say it's for sure gonna happen. It's just supposed to happen, and I just know it. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely the next goal, is to get out there and get on as much things as possible and go out there with other thousands of comedians trying to do the same shit.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see you out there because I'm going to try to be out at least 4 times a year starting next year. So
yeah, definitely.
Just because it's so much work in a short period of time.
Yeah,
I get a lot of development when I go over there. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's healthy for me to just continuously go there, but for my comedy at least. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's always a positive experience, and it's something that you learn every time. So yeah, I agree. I definitely am excited, and I don't want to say I hope it works out because I just know that it will. You know what I mean? But I hope it works out.
You know it will.
Yeah.
You don't even gotta say hope. It's fine. I know what kind of language we speak.
Yeah. So it's like I'm excited for the future.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I mean, we can kind of end there. If you want to shout out your podcast, your Instagram, all that stuff again, any upcoming things you got going, or
so podcast again, Unstable Creatures podcast on YouTube, and Instagram and Facebook, and then my name is Selena Ubias, Ubias. I have Instagram, Facebook, all those things. So follow you, girl.
Thanks for being here, Selena.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, perfect.
She keep working that back and I'm about to throw the shit like